hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Straight Talk. My name is Ahmad Chakaraka, and on Straight Talk, what we do is we talk about things that happen in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. And joining me tonight is one of my great friends, Mr. Toby.
Ahmad, once again, it's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you very much for what you do.
It's great for you to be here. Now, all of these different things, but I forgot to say, social studies teacher at Everett High School, and you've been there?
I've been there since 1991.
Wow.
It's been a remarkable day, and my sunset is coming up because in June of 2016,
wow,
I will fade quietly away.
But tell us something about the school.
Everett High School, you know, it has a very strong legacy in Lansing. Famous known for Magic Johnson, being one of the famous alumni who have attended it too. But it's a wonderful school that has done a lot for the community. Great rivalry in basketball and other sports. It has been fortunate enough to have secured some state championships throughout the year. But beyond the athletics, academically, its students have gone on to do quite well. You know, quite well. And not only would I embrace just say Everett High School because I teach, I will overall embrace the Lansing School District because along with Sexton and Easton, they have a very famous alumni who have gone on to major in all the fields that are out there. You know, in today's day where education has become, quote unquote, the bastard child, and teachers have become the lap dogs and the whipping stools for everybody. You don't really see that. But for the community to actually, you know, come into these schools and they will see that the teachers today are doing yeoman service despite all the things that I gain. And we can draw some example that here within the Lansing School District, teachers have not gotten a raise. I am talking about a raise here within the last 3 years.
Wow.
Now, a lot of time people don't understand that. But can you imagine being highly educated and in a profession where somebody would tell you, okay, you are not going to be given a raise based on lots of things. Insufficient funds, lack of pupil funding, economy is down, and the list goes on. And I think those are some of the underhand things that at times the public is not aware of. I mean, you think at times where teachers have dipped personally into their pockets, you know, to buy supplies, you know, and the fact that they've digged into their pockets to help other students. So in many times, I tell people straight out, you can compare teaching sometimes with that of being a friar, a monk,
Mm-hmm.
a priest.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it for the goodness,
Mm-hmm.
because you are truly not compensated, as you should. And there's this fallacy, this great belief that, teachers only work, well, they only work, they get summers off, so you deserve. Not realizing that many of my colleagues have to have second jobs just to just to exist.
Now, you mentioned about the pay. They hadn't been paid. I mean, that they hadn't had a raise. It's other countries. Teachers are treated
Sure.
much better
Sure.
and everything.
Well, there's value.
Some countries teachers are right at the top.
Sure.
So
Sure. And you're talking about places like Sweden, like Denmark, where teachers are respected, paid like professionals, right? And you get, at a lot of time, the brightest and the best. Within the continental United States, and I would say even in Hawaii, right? It appears like teaching is something that, you do because you couldn't do other things. Now, when you look at a profession like mine, it is probably one of the only profession where you are asking, you've put you are evaluating my self-worth as a teacher based on how well my students do.
okay.
Now, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But however, I have a problem with the conditions you want to evaluate me under. I have students for 1 hour per day per week.
Okay.
At 1 hour. Now, remember, it's just 1 hour. So within that 1 hour, you expect me to handle all the social aspect of that student. Not measuring what they are coming with. Because you are saying that these young men, these young women are coming already open to receive.
Okay.
And you look and you know very well that's a faux pas. That does not exist because society is imperfect.
Okay.
And today when we look at the social issues that these students are encumbered with,
Okay.
it is virtually impossible. As a matter of fact, you have to really give teachers a hand where at the end of the day, at the end of a week, at the end of a semester, so many students graduate
Okay.
in spite of
Okay.
the broken homes, the lack of supplies,
Okay.
the lack of discipline. And all these things I'm saying, are nationwide. They are not just localized to say Lansing,
Right,
Michigan. It's all around. Because you read the tabloids, you read the newspapers, you hear it every single day, about the dire straits of which our educational process is. And part of it happens to simply be is that we as a society, we talk about value in education. Unfortunately, I don't want you to value education. I want you to value children. Because if you start valuing children, then maybe we start valuing education. So it's time for a change around.
In the last, I would say, 20 years, and I don't know. I can imagine what was the cause, but I'll let you talk about it. We see. I'll just back all the way back. When I was, long time ago, when I was going to school, it looked like it was kind of even then. But again, I went to school, all black school. I went to all black school until I got. In fact, my junior college was all black junior college. So, but what I'm saying is that.
You were in the school when it was segregated to
right,
an extent,
right.
And now we are integrated.
Right. It looks like now we are getting Hispanic children, down here, black kids down here. What's
Yeah,
up?
you've got the schism guy. Well, one of the aspects I think, and I don't believe in going backwards. You know, a lot of times people say, we were better off when it was segregated schools. I look at that. That's a monolithic view.
Yeah.
We don't live in a one-dimensional
Right,
world.
right, we don't.
The world is varied. I mean, within the next 2 decades or so, Latinos are going to be the majority in this thing. So if you are far-sighted, at some point in time, like Mandela became the first president of all united South Africa, you are going to be looking at a Latino president, right? You'll be looking at Islam will have a greater foothold in the United States than it's now.
Yeah.
It's just time.
Yeah.
It's just a matter if you were to look at history. You can't be the movable object because if you stand against wave, it will wash over you.
Okay.
It's one or two. So it's just a matter of time. So when we look at our education process, from my opinion, from my personal view, having been in the trenches, it's not a matter of segregating schools anymore. It's doing a couple things. And one of the things that we have to start doing, we have to start putting teeth in the meaning of the word discipline.
Okay.
Now that becomes very difficult, simply because in the past, the bastions of discipline were in major institutions. The first and foremost was the family. Family was defined.
Yeah.
That was a definite. You didn't have to look into Webster to get a varied meter.
Right.
Family is family. It didn't matter whether it comprised of a mom, a dad, and siblings and others. The word family meant unity. It meant that somebody was in charge. It meant that somebody took responsibility. It meant that there were majors and minors. If you were a child, you were a minor, and you fell under the major.
That's right.
Discipline was not a misword.
Right.
It was the hallmark,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a community. So today, we don't have that.
No.
If you were to just cast your mind back long ago, not that obscenity is new. Curse words ranging from A to D to F to whatever were always there. However, they were used sparingly, especially if you were young.
Yeah.
They were said in like a whisper, and you shudder. You don't want to be over here.
No.
You've got to admit today that is not. It's blatantly open.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole measure conversation, and let's face it, the media, TV has bought into that.
Oh, yeah.
Because words that were long ago were used embarrassingly are used now as stairs of intent. The B word become, you now are H.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
become good.
this is
You
a-
my N.
Yeah.
Those are
Common
become.
word, yeah.
So once you take those fundamental values that act like a glue and kept you on a straight and narrow and had nothing to do with the fact that you were from the barrio, the hood, or whatever.
Yeah.
There was thing. It's like you went out in clean clothes, whether it was just the only pair you had, it was clean.
Yep.
Well, all those security have gone. So now you are just left
Okay.
in the school to do everything. Churches are no longer there.
No.
Clubs, Girl Scout, Boy Guides, you name it, they're no longer there. So when you look at the pillars that maintain discipline,
Right.
it's gone. When you had a draft, as terrible as it was, young men went through a process
Yeah.
of being disciplined.
Yep.
Well, you now have an all-volunteer army. I call it paid mercenary.
Yeah.
Because you look at the people who are fighting and dying, they're from poor America.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at Congress.
Yeah.
How many of their sons and daughters,
Not in
have
it.
given
Not in
blood?
Not
And they
in-
don't have to.
No.
So as much as people upheld that they're glad to draft, I'm one of those who say, I don't believe in that. Because I think if you had the draft, you would have less wars. Why? Because I, who are in power, whatever, I'd be reluctant to have my son and daughter go over there and die.
Yeah.
But now, people tell you straight, go in the military and it's there. I am not advocating don't serve
Okay.
or anything like that. I'm all for one. I would willingly defend America. But there are times when I strongly believe I am not going to go over and die for somebody's freedom, you know, while they come over here
Right.
and just live in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know, so even now when people talk about the whole fact of, you know, let's go into Syria and let's take care of ISIS and everything, I look and I tell people, yeah, ISIS, I agree with you, ISIS is evil. But I want to know what is those people within that sphere,
Right.
what are they willing to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
I mean, after all, this country has spent over $1 trillion in 3 wars.
Oh, yeah.
Iraq, Afghanistan, and now the war on terrorism, which nobody really understands
Right.
what that is, because that could go on forever.
Yeah.
So at some point, I am saying I'm willing to help. But this whole idea of bludgeon treasure going behind, no. I'm telling you straight out, I'm a grandfather of 6. And ain't nobody getting my 3 grandsons to shed no blood over here. No, you're not.
Hey.
I serve. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Now, they will teach you. You, from where you are, you need to be at the forefront. And so to get back to where we're talking about education, the bastions of all those discipline process have eroded, and the hung, put it this way, the hungs are loose. So when we look at sagging, when we look at cussing, when we look at students
Yeah.
opposing teachers, when we look at parents coming into schools, you know, want to mouth off with the teacher,
Yep.
the examples are all there. You know, so society, you know, is the major one to blame. It's not just the kids. It's not just the students.
You know, because it's a thing where we see the thing where and you know, I don't know whether it's that me and some older people are looking at it different or whatever, but it looks like to me things are being dumbed down, if I can use that.
Well, you talk about the curriculum, which is a very good point. You are not, well, you know, we talk about, in one case you'll hear about make it rigorous, make it meaningful. You know, American kids can rise to the occasion. You know, those are all great isms.
Okay.
Or whatever philosophy you want to look at to aim. They are a wonderful concept to achieve. Nobody's saying no. But unfortunately in this country, behind the scenes, they aren't willing to do that, because you look at something. You look at how many students enter a building. So we have 900 students in a freshman class.
Okay.
You projected you should graduate 900. Okay? If that class drops to 300,
Okay.
it's going to be labeled not a good school.
Okay.
You have inadequate supply. You have frustrated teachers, though they are willing.
Okay.
You've got administration who have to endorse policies from the states that
Okay.
they know don't work. Like, for instance, you would think, why do you have social promotion? In other words, students haven't completed all the requirements of stage 1, but you give them a social promotion to stage 2 because you got nowhere to put that. It's the only place in the world that I know this happens. And I'm not saying anything that is falsehood. That's an accurate fact. Social promotion is big in America. So it's possible for you to have a kid who is a low-level reader or non-level reader, and they have advanced. So somebody who really look like they are a 9th grader, 8th grader, should really be 7 or 6.
Oh, you know, that's interesting, because somebody was saying we was talking about this probably a year or so ago, and somebody was saying that kids was getting out of high school and then they couldn't
function properly.
Yeah, right.
It's not surprising me. Yeah, of course I tell people we don't hand out diplomas. We hand out toilet paper, because part of it is that there is an implied pressure on schools, which are the institutional learning,
Okay.
to raise the graduation rate. I mean, to quote Brother Malcolm, by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't use that in a complimentary manner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you've got to show, oh, well, we're graduating. You can't have a 900 and then you only graduate 300. You come under the microscope.
Okay.
So shenanigans are going to go on. Nobody's going to come out openly and tell you that. No, they would not admit that. But the proof is in the pudding. Why? Why do so many of our, quote unquote, our graduates go to institution beyond high school and have to do remedial training that should be basic? Like, why do you have to go to a community college and have to do a pre-math or pre-English course? Those should be fundamental rudiments
When you get out of school.
of it. Exactly.
So, okay, where do you, what do you see, I know you be retired and everything, but
What do I foresee?
yeah, what do you see could help the situation they're in right now?
Okay. Right. One of the things we'll have to start at. We have to start out with the whole idea that what we are doing isn't working.
Okay.
And one, we have to stop repeating the same thing all the time. We don't have to talk about the definition of insanity.
Okay.
Because we know it's keep doing the same thing and hoping for a different result. So that's the first thing we do. All right? Money is not the only problem.
Okay.
So a lot of time people say the schools need more money. Yes, I agree the schools need more money. Because they have to keep you, as technology advance, the ways of learning change.
Okay.
Right? So one, we got to admit that what we're doing isn't working. And one, now we have to decide that we need to try something new.
Okay.
Well, let's step boldly. We no longer live in an agrarian society. So in other words, you aren't training people to go out there and work on the soil and do everything.
Okay.
You are living in the computerized age.
Okay.
Schools have to be redefined.
Okay.
School doesn't mean a brick and mortar thing. You got a computer, you got a cell phone.
Okay.
You know, all those are tools, all those are mediums that could be used for instruction. One of the things that turn off students is the fact that we do the same old dreary old stuff, same way every day. We sit in rows and we blah, 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 blah. Schools have got to become more interactive.
Okay.
We have the capacity to travel to different places without leaving via the internet. So one, it will take us to truly invest money into remodeling the way we instruct. And then we'll have to change the curriculum. All of us don't need to be college bound. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I love the whole idea of the German model. The German model is they have the Polytechnic Institute where young people are taught a skill. Note what I said, I don't call it a trade, a skill. So when you leave high school, you qualify to do something. That's why so many of them are technicians, you know, in the automobile industry.
Okay.
You know, because they are skilled, they are machinists, they do. Look how many jobs are around here doing that. Our mentality, oh, everybody got to go to college. So you go to college and you get all these fancy degrees and you cannot do anything with it. So we need to change the way the curriculum. Part-time, liberal arts, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Part-time skill trade.
Okay.
Electrician,
Okay.
plumber. We could break it down. Programmer, X-ray tech,
Okay.
medical. We got the means. We got the know-how. We can do that overnight.
Okay.
You don't have to be from 7:35 to 2:30. You're doing English, math, economics, philosophy, psychology, art, dance, whatever. No. part of that time should be structured. So when you leave school, right, at the end of 4 years, in one hand, you have a trade certificate.
Okay.
You are skilled to do something else. You can go. In the other, you got a high school diploma. So then, colleges there is open. So those of us who graduate and want to, who want to go that view, it's open to you. Those of us who want to go in the skill, you can do your license, your plumber's license, your electrician license, your whatever. Now, people may want to view and may say, oh, if you do this, you'll break it down from a racist point of view, right? It cannot be a racist point of view if you are teaching a skill.
No.
And so that's an avenue that, from my opinion, that we have to go.
Well, we got about 2.5 more minutes. Okay, round it up then.
Okay. So overall, when we look at our education system, all right, and let's look at the grand point.
Okay.
The world comes to the United States for higher education.
Yeah.
We have more med school, more engineering school, more law schools, nursing schools, you name it, than anybody else. Par excellence. I mean, we're on the cutting edge. People come from all over the world to get their professional degree and go back. People don't come from all over the world to go to our high school.
No.
So we got to ask ourselves then, how do you go from the nadir to the bottom?
Yeah.
So you need to reverse that. And what we need to do is to change that whole skill thinking from the bottom. One, let's start by accepting the fact that what we are doing is not working. We know it. If I were to come back here next year and the year after, we're probably going to repeat in the same thing. I mean, it's nothing like revisionist history. You're looking back and say, wait, didn't they do that?
Okay.
You know what I mean? How many warnings you want to have before it happened? So once again, once we have accepted that point, we come to the conclusion that we can change. Because we have to accept the fact that we can change.
Okay.
And then secondly, be willing to change. And then enact the policies that accommodates that. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. Because you and I know change is very hard.
Yeah.
People are very territorial. So you have to start in small increments. And those increments where you began is you can begin by investing, in programs like Head Start.
Okay.
Because you've known that you start teaching children how to read from early. It opens out and widens their imagination, and then the sky's the limit when coming to that.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.